Hey everybody, this is Dr. Eric Shoemake. I'm going to talk to you about the 4 phases of adrenal fatigue today, and I really want you to pay attention because this can really help you in terms of getting your energy back. This could be the most important thing you've never heard of before when it comes to feeling the way that you want to feel and feeling like your old self. So let's get right into it. There's what we call 4 phases or 4 phases of adrenal burnout. Because of the stress that we're under in our society right now, then you're going to progress through these 4 different phases. And the cool thing about this is if you know where you're at, we can actually tell you what to do about it, because there's different things that are happening physiologically in your body in each of these 4 phases. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The first one is this one here, and this is a progression that we go across here, 1 to 4. This is what we call the phase number 1, which is wired for sound. So what that means is that you're wired because you got a lot to do, and you might be Superman during this time or Superwoman during this time. And if you're a mom, you're making lunches and you're going to soccer practices and you're working on a blog. I mean, whatever you're doing in your life, and you're chasing kids around and taking care of the family and trying to run a career. When you're doing that, this is what we call wired for sound. So what happens physiologically is you're in that heightened response when it comes to something what we call the fight or flight mode, where you might fight a bear in the woods and the bear goes away, but unfortunately in this phase, the bear never goes away. You're constantly in this fight or flight mode. And what happens here is you're setting yourself up for a fall or a crash. That's phase 1. Your cortisol levels go up and your neurotransmitters get jacked up, so you feel like you can take on the world, but you're not quite sleeping the way you used to. There's more anxiety than you used to have, and unfortunately if we don't do something about that, we're going to be in big trouble as we move forward. So the second phase as you move across here is number 2, which is called wired and tired. Okay, and that's really a hallmark of adrenal fatigue, because you're wired at night when you should be sleeping, and then you're tired during the day. So if you're in this phase, you know what I mean, because you lay down, you should go to sleep at night, but your brain won't turn off and it keeps running, and you're worried about things that are coming up the next day, and you just can't stop thinking about the 5,000 things that you have to do, and you can't fall asleep. And then when you wake up the next day and you should be rested, you're not, then you're tired. So what happens in this area is your cortisol levels get what we call inverted. So they're low when they should be high, and vice versa. And that's when you set yourself up for this wired and tired, and then you're really not sleeping well. You don't fight off infections or sicknesses like you used to. There's more allergies. So that's why this guy's wearing a little surgical mask. This is what we call wired and tired. This is allergic and infected. So a lot of times you have allergies here you didn't used to notice. You have skin issues that you didn't used to notice, like eczema starts to pop up. That's when you're in this wired and tired, allergic and infected. Sinus problems are another really big one here. And again, if we don't do something about it here, then it just continues to progress. And I'd say the majority of people that I see are in this one, or this one. And the progression to phase 3 is another wired and tired, but this is this guy over here, and we call that inflamed and in pain. So now your cortisol levels are messed up, your dopamine and your serotonin levels are messed up as well. And then when you get to this point, now you're inflamed, you hurt all over. So you have arthritis you didn't used to have. You have maybe autoimmune disorders like psoriasis, those types of issues, rheumatoid arthritis that you've never had before, or you just hurt. Fibromyalgia is another example of this. So you just hurt all over the place. And what all of these have in common, especially these 2, is you're tired. You don't have the energy that you used to have. You're, again, awake at night and tired during the day. Caffeine just makes it worse, because it's like whipping a horse, and you think you should be able to drink enough coffee or get yourself psyched up enough, but unfortunately you've whipped the horse so much that the horse just stops responding to the whip. I was just talking to a patient in the office today about this, and she said, this is exactly me. She was like, I hurt all over the place. I can't lose weight. And I told her, that's because your cortisol levels are affected here. She's like, that makes sense. And she said, that's exactly what I feel like. I feel like I'm trying to whip the horse. So something that used to get me fired up doesn't get me fired up anymore, and now I'm just tired all the time and I can't get things done. If that's you, there's a solution, but you have to do something about it, because then it progresses to this one over here, which is phase 4, and that's not even wired and tired. Now you're just plain tired. So you go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, and you just want to go right back to bed. And the big thing that gets affected here is your dopamine or your neurotransmitters, and that's your reward and pleasure centers in your brain. So you just don't enjoy life the way you used to. You don't enjoy the things that used to make you happy. You don't get excited about the things you used to get excited about. It affects your libido. It affects your immune system. It really affects just about every area of your life. And you think, man, why do I feel so old? I'm only 57, 58 years old, and I feel like I'm 88 years old. That's where you're in this just plain tired. And I see an amazing amount of people actually in this area. And what's happened is the adrenal glands, or that stress response, has been so overused that everything just gives up. So your cortisol levels can actually flatline, your dopamine levels can flatline, and what generally is going to happen here is this is a lot of anxiety in these two phases here, and then there's a lot of depression in these two phases. And the thing you have to understand is there's a reason for it, and there's a solution, which is why I'm so excited about our workshop that's coming up here called Oh My Adrenals on June 29th in our office at 6:30. What we're going to take you through is the protocols, and there's an actual protocol for each one of those. So if you're in this one, we can tell you what to do to balance the cortisol levels and neurotransmitter levels. If you're over here, we can teach you how to decrease inflammation and restore your normal cortisol levels back where they're supposed to be. And even if you're here, okay, and they're just plain tired, and you might not even be motivated to feel like I can even go to a workshop, you're thinking, I can't do that. Take the time to be there, because this can actually be corrected. You can actually rebuild those adrenals through the right set of supplements and the right diet. Then you can actually rebuild those adrenal glands to where you feel like your old self again. So that's coming up here called Oh My Adrenals on the 29th of June. So we're going to take you through nutrition and what you can do there. We're going to take you through the protocols for this, and I'm actually going to be teaching a bonus called the Healing Code, which is where you can really get over a lot of the anxiety and the self-sabotaging thoughts that you're thinking that are affecting your adrenals. It's a 6-minute solution per day, and I'm super excited about teaching that, and you're going to actually learn that on the 29th as well. At our last workshop, we had, I think, 45 people on the waiting list that never got in. So if you want to get registered for that workshop, it's a free workshop. You just have to make sure you get your ticket for it, and you can get there by responding to this email and telling Nicole that you want to reserve your spot for you and whatever guest that you want to bring, because at least 80% of your friends and family are in one of these phases, and we're going to teach you what to do about it. So next video that I'm going to be sending out, we'll talk a little bit more, laying the groundwork for what we're going to be teaching there and giving you some more solutions. But if you're serious about taking care of this and getting your energy level back, make sure you respond, because we'll be full probably within the next week to 10 days. So I can't wait to see you there on the 29th.